Dominic gave some of the skeletons from his Anglo-Saxon cemetery to Paul Budd at Durham University. Paul has pioneered a new form of biological research called stable isotope analysis.
What we're really interested in actually is the teeth, and particularly the tooth enamel, because tooth enamel is formed in childhood, and unlike any other tissue in the body, it's not remodeled during life. It's giving you a little window, a little microcosm of what was happening in your diet, what you were eating at the time of your childhood when the tooth was formed.
Paul has discovered that tooth enamel has within it materials specific to the person's location of birth. One of these materials contains oxygen isotopes.
Your main source of oxygen is the oxygen that you consume as water. Because you're eating local foods, this signal will find its way into your bones and into your teeth.
By measuring the oxygen isotopes in a person's tooth enamel, Paul is able to tell what climate and in what part of the world they were born.
This is a technique which offers the opportunity of identifying first-generation immigrants specifically, because you can look at people who you are going to see, people who grew up somewhere different.
Paul successfully analysed 24 of the bodies from Dominic's cemetery, and a few of these were indeed foreigners, but the other results were surprising.
The things that we expected that we might see would be some continental immigrants at West Heatherton. And in fact, we did see 4 individuals from the site who have drinking water which you can't really find in the UK.
So were these rich, swaggering, warrior-type people?
No, the interesting thing about those 4 is that they're all females. They're very poorly furnished graves. And in fact, they're the only 4 females that essentially don't have any dress fittings at all.
Household servants or something like that.
Well, it certainly seems to be the lower status people. The most likely candidate is going to be sort of Scandinavia, Norwegian sort of coast up here, or possibly Sweden over here.
Right. What about the remainder of the population? Presumably they were all Yorkshiremen, were they?
Well, you would think so. But the surprises didn't stop there. We did indeed find that about roughly sort of half the sample did look like they were sort of local to West Heatherton. And then we had another half of the population who are associated with the western side of the country. Early East Yorkshire seems to be occupied by a large proportion of Cumbrians, as far as I can tell. You've got a big immigrant component to the West Heatherton population, but not coming from the east, coming from the west.
So the foreign bodies in the cemetery weren't continental warriors, but visitors or economic migrants. The results did not surprise Dominic at all.
There's a small number of newcomers. There are a small number of continental Saxons, Jutes, Frisians and so on and so forth in different parts of the country. But the majority of the population are exactly the same. It's a continuously evolving and cared for landscape. We see Roman sites with Anglo-Saxon components. We see Roman activity underneath the Anglo-Saxon settlement. There is no gap between the two. If there were, then we would have had a huge wadge of that nice red ochre, red sand sitting between the two, and it doesn't happen.
Historians tell us that the Anglo-Saxon invaders came to a society which had been severely weakened by the collapse of Roman rule. But Dominic's vast excavation had found no such evidence.
People are coming to appreciate that the picture that we've thought was genuine for so long is seriously flawed. And our population, we can prove, includes 1 or 2 people that come from Scandinavia. But this isn't an invasion. There is always resistance to change. Because once people are happy with an established understanding, they do not want to change it. It is actually much more exciting to find that it's all wrong.
The people of the 5th century cemetery at West Heatherton looked like newcomers from the continent, and yet most of them were born in Britain. If this change wasn't the result of invasion, what was going on?